You're completely still right now, but that's not true, because at this exact moment, you are moving faster than you can imagine, and you don't feel a single thing. That should bother you. Look around, nothing seems to be shifting. The ground feels stable beneath you. Your body feels at rest. Every signal your brain receives tells you the same story. You are not moving. And yet, that story is wrong, because feeling still is not the same as being still. Your senses are not measuring motion the way you think they are. They are not tracking your speed through space. They are not telling you how fast you're moving relative to the universe. They are only telling you one thing, whether something is changing. And right now, nothing seems to be changing. That's why it feels like rest. But step back for a moment and question that feeling. What does it actually mean to be still? Does it mean not moving at all, or does it simply mean not noticing motion? Your brain quietly assumes those two things are the same. They're not, because motion does not require sensation. You can be moving perfectly smoothly at a constant speed, and your body will register nothing. No force, no signal, no warning, and that's exactly what's happening right now. You are in motion, but it is so consistent, so uninterrupted, that your senses have nothing to report. No change means no feeling. No difference means no awareness. So your brain fills in the gap with a simple conclusion, stillness. But that conclusion is an illusion. Because if you could suddenly step outside your current frame of reference, if you could somehow see yourself from a completely different perspective, you would not look still at all. You would see motion layered on top of motion, movement within movement, all happening at once. And none of it matches what you feel, which leads to an unavoidable question. If you are moving right now, why can't you feel it? If you're moving right now, why can't you feel it? Because motion doesn't work the way you think it does. You assume movement is something absolute, that you are either moving or you are not. But in reality, motion only exists relative to something else. There is no universal reference point that defines what still actually means. Think about sitting inside a perfectly smooth airplane. No turbulence, no sudden turns, just steady motion. You look around, and everything feels stable. The seat isn't shifting. The air inside the cabin feels calm. You could close your eyes and believe you're not moving at all. But outside, you're traveling hundreds of kilometers per hour. So are you moving or not? The answer depends entirely on what you compare yourself to. Relative to the plane, you are completely still. Relative to the ground, you are moving incredibly fast. Both are true at the same time, and this is the key idea your brain struggles with. Motion is not something you have, it's something you measure between two things. Without a reference point, the concept of motion loses meaning. That's why your body doesn't detect constant speed. Your senses are designed to feel changes, acceleration, vibration, shifts in direction. When something speeds up, slows down, or turns, forces act on your body. You feel pushed, pulled, or tilted. But constant motion, perfectly steady, unchanging motion, your body treats that as rest. Because from your perspective nothing is happening, this is why you can sit on a moving train, stand on a flying plane, or even spin with the earth without noticing it. As long as the motion is smooth and consistent, your senses go silent, they report nothing, and your brain interprets that silence as stillness. But here's where it becomes unsettling. If motion is always relative, then the idea of being truly at rest becomes meaningless. There is no universal still point you can compare yourself to, no cosmic background that defines absolute motion, which leads to a deeper realization. If there is no absolute rest, then how fast are you actually moving right now? If there is no absolute rest, then how fast are you actually moving right now? The answer is far beyond anything you feel. Start with the ground beneath you. The earth is rotating. At the equator, that rotation carries you at roughly 1,600 kilometers per h-hour. Even far from the equator, you are still being swept around the planet at enormous speed. But that's only the first layer. The earth is also orbiting the sun. Every second, you move through space at about 30 kilometers per second. That's over 100,000 kilometers per h-hour continuously without pause. And it doesn't stop there. The entire solar system is orbiting the center of the Milky Way galaxy. That motion adds another massive speed around 800,000 kilometers per H-hour. You are not just circling the Sunday. You are traveling through the galaxy at a pace almost impossible to imagine. And even that is not the full picture. The Milky Way itself is moving through space, pulled by the gravity of other galaxies, drifting within a vast cosmic structure. That adds yet another layer of motion, stacking on top of everything else. So at this moment, you are not moving in a single direction at a single speed. You are moving in multiple directions at once, rotating with the Earth, orbiting the Sunday, traveling through the galaxy, drifting through the universe. Each motion combines into a complex path that never repeats, never stops, and never slows to zero. And yet, you feel completely still. No wind rushing past you, no force pressing you backward, no sensation of speed at all. Because all of this motion is smooth, continuous, unbroken. Your body moves with it perfectly. There is no sudden change, no acceleration relative to your immediate surroundings. So your senses remain silent. But from a wider perspective, the truth is unavoidable. You are moving at extraordinary speeds right now, and none of it feels real, which raises a deeper question. If all of this motion is happening, why does your brain hide it completely? If you're moving at incredible speeds right now, why does your brain make it feel like nothing is happening? Because your brain was never designed to show you reality. It was designed to keep you alive. To do that, it filters information. Constant, unchanging signals are ignored. Only changes matter, only differences trigger awareness. This is why you feel acceleration, but not constant motion. When a car suddenly speeds up, you feel pushed back. When it brakes, you feel thrown forward. When it turns, your body shifts. These changes create forces your senses can detect. But once the motion becomes smooth and steady, those signals disappear. Your brain stops paying attention. It assumes that if nothing is changing, nothing is happening. And that assumption works perfectly for survival. You don't need to constantly process steady motion. It would overload your senses with useless information. So your brain simplifies everything into a stable, predictable experience. It builds the feeling of stillness, but that feeling is not a direct reading of reality. It's a constructed interpretation. Your brain takes a complex, constantly moving world and compresses it into something manageable. It removes the motion you cannot use and highlights only what changes. So instead of experiencing multiple layers of movement rotation, orbit, galactic motion, you experience a calm, stable environment. It feels like rest, but it's not. This filtering happens everywhere in your perception. You don't see individual air molecules moving around you. You don't feel the constant pressure of atmospheric forces shifting at microscopic levels. You don't notice the Earth's rotation beneath your feet. Not because these things aren't happening, but because your brain chooses not to show them to you. And that leads to a deeper realization. If your senses are hiding something this massive, what else about reality are you not experiencing at all? If your brain can hide motion this completely, then something fundamental changes. The idea of being still stops making sense, because stillness, the way you've always understood it, doesn't actually exist. It feels real. It feels obvious. You sit, you stand, you lie down, and your entire experience tells you that you are at rest, that nothing is happening, that you have stopped moving. But that feeling is not a fact. It's a convenience. In reality, there is no moment where you are truly motionless. Not relative to the Earth, not relative to the Sunday, not relative to the galaxy, and not even relative to the larger structure of the universe. You are always moving, constantly, even when you think you've stopped. And the deeper you look, the more that idea dissolves. Because motion isn't something that turns on and off. It doesn't begin when you start walking and end when you sit down. It is always there, layered into every level of reality. You don't enter motion. You exist inside it. This changes how you understand rest. Rest is not the absence of movement. It's the absence of noticeable change. A condition where everything around you moves together so smoothly that your brain interprets it as stillness. But remove that shared motion, introduce even a small difference, and suddenly you feel it again, the illusion breaks, motion becomes visible, which means stillness was never a physical state, it was a perceptual one. And that leads to the final realization you have never actually experienced being completely still. Not once in your entire life. Every moment you've ever lived has been part of a continuous, layered motion through space. You just couldn't feel it. And right now, you still can't.